Chicago's White Sox exploded for 8 combined home runs in a 12-3 rout of Houston headlined by Munetaka Murakami's 6 RBI night, but it was a wild day across baseball with shootouts, milestone streaks, and a Marlins team still searching for answers. The Rays edged the Guardians 1-0 in a tightly pitched afternoon affair at home. Drew Rasmussen was brilliant, striking out 9 over 7 scoreless innings to pick up the win, and Brian Baker slammed the door with a perfect ninth for the save. Tampa Bay's lone run was enough support behind that dominant start. Offense was scarce on both sides. Ryan Vilade, Chandler Simpson, Nick Fortes, Ben Williamson, and Cedric Mullins each managed a hit for the Rays, while Stephen Kwan was the only Guardian to reach base with a knock. Cleveland's Petey Halpin swiped a bag, but it went for naught as the Guardians were shut out on the scoreboard. This was a classic pitcher's duel decided by one dominant performance on the mound, with Rasmussen's line the headline of an otherwise quiet game for both lineups. Washington outslugged Arizona 10-7 in a wild shootout at home, with 4 total home runs powering the scoring. C.J. Abrams was the story of the game, going 3 for 5 with 2 home runs and 3 RBI, and that multi-hit effort extended his hit streak to 7 straight games, making him one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. James Wood matched him blast for blast with 2 homers of his own, giving the Nationals 2 multi-homer games in the same lineup. Dylan Cruz chipped in a 3 for 5 day as well. Arizona didn't go quietly, getting solo shots from Ketel Marte and Geraldo Perdomo, but it wasn't enough to overcome the Nationals' power surge. Riley Cornelio worked 2 innings for the win, and Clayton Beeter locked things down with a 1-inning save. With Abrams' 4-hit, 4 RBI power display and his streak still rolling, Washington's offense looks like it's finding another gear. Pittsburgh survived the slugfest with Chicago, holding on for an 8-7 win at home. 4 home runs flew out in this one. Esmeralyn Valdez, Sean Ross, and Ryan O'Hearn all went deep for the Pirates, while Seiya Suzuki answered for the Cubs. Brandon Lowe paced the Pirates' attack, going 3 for 4. Braxton Ashcraft worked 6 innings, allowing 4 earned runs while striking out 5 to pick up the win, and Mason Montgomery closed it out with a 1-inning save to preserve the 1-run margin. Chicago got contributions up and down the lineup with Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, Ian Happ, Michael Busch, and Pete Crow Armstrong all picking up hits, but the Cubs couldn't quite complete the comeback against a Pirates team that leaned on the long ball to escape with a 1-run victory. Boston cruised past Toronto 6-1 at home behind a balanced attack. Jarren Duran led the way, going 3 for 4 with 2 RBI and also swiped a bag, while Jahmai Jones added a steal of his own to keep the Red Sox aggressive on the bases. Greg Weissert picked up the win with a scoreless inning of relief. Toronto's lone bright spot offensively was Andrés Giménez, who went 3 for 4 with an RBI and stole a base, but the Blue Jays could never find enough traffic to threaten Boston's lead. With Duran's multi-hit, multi-RBI day and 3 total stolen bases between the two clubs, this was a game defined as much by contact and speed as by power for the home team, and Boston never let Toronto back in it. Atlanta stole a close one on the road, edging Baltimore 3-2 in a tightly played game. Dominic Smith drove in the difference with a 3 for 5, 2 RBI day at the plate, and he got help from Michael Harris, Roman II, Drake Baldwin, Matt Olson, and Austin Riley, who all picked up hits for the Braves. Tyler Kinley worked 1.1 scoreless innings out of the bullpen to pick up the win. Baltimore's offense was limited to a Pete Alonso solo home run as the headline moment, with Taylor Ward, Christian Encarnacion Strand, and Colton Cowser also chipping in hits, but the Orioles couldn't string together enough traffic to complete the comeback. It was a low-scoring, tightly contested game decided largely by Smith's multi-hit afternoon and Atlanta's ability to make just enough plays to hold the lead. Kansas City topped Detroit 5-4 on the road behind solo home runs from Michael Massey and Lane Thomas. Nate Pearson picked up the win with a scoreless inning of relief, and Steven Cruz slammed the door with a 1-inning save to seal it. Detroit got hits from Hao-Yu Lee, Kevin McGonigal, Spencer Torkelson, James Outman, Dylan Dingler, and Colt Keith, but couldn't quite match the power the Royals brought to the plate. Neither starting staff turned in a highlight reel outing, so this one came down to which team's hitters showed up in the big spots, and on this day, that was Kansas City's Massey and Thomas, whose home runs proved to be the difference in a tight, back-and-forth game that the Royals' bullpen closed out cleanly. Mets handled the Dodgers 8-3 at home, getting home runs from Tyron Taylor and Marcus Semien to power the offense. Chanel Perez picked up the win with 2 scoreless innings out of the bullpen, striking out 3. Francisco Lindor, Bo Bichette, and A.J. Ewing also picked up hits for New York in the win. Los Angeles got hits from Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Tommy Edman, Dalton Rushing, and Eliezer Alfonso, but couldn't overcome the deficit against a Mets team that got the long ball when it needed it most. It was a kind of complete team win. The Mets will want to build up a middle of the order, lengthen the bullpen, and just have to keep extending inning against the Dodgers that they could have found an answer. San Diego beat Miami 5-3, and the loss extended the Marlins' skid to 11 straight games. Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado both went deep for the Padres, and Jake Cronenworth had a strong day at the plate going 3 for 5. Wandy Peralta picked up the win with a scoreless inning, and Mason Miller closed it out with a one-inning save. Miami got a home run of its own from Kyle Stowers, and Xavier Edwards and Liam Hicks each stole a base to keep the Marlins competitive, but the offense couldn't sustain enough pressure to snap the losing streak. With Miami now sitting at 11 consecutive losses, this is a club searching for answers, and San Diego's balanced attack power, contact, and a shutdown bullpen made sure that streak continued for at least one more day. Minnesota outlasted the Athletics in a slugfest, winning 11-8 at home. The Twins got big multi-hit games all over the lineup. Cody Clemens went 3 for 5 with an RBI, Ryan Jeffers went 3 for 5 with 3 RBI, and Ryan Kreidler went 3 for 4 with an RBI while also swiping 2 bags, a standout stolen base game that put him among the day's top fantasy performers. Royce Lewis added a steal of his own. Connor Prelip worked 5.2 innings, allowing just 1 earned run while striking out 5 to pick up the win. Oakland got a home run from Nick Kurtz and hits from Tommy White, Donovan Walton, Jeff McNeil, and Tyler Soderstrom, but couldn't keep pace with the Twins' offense that had answers in every inning. This was a track meet from start to finish, with Minnesota's depth up and down the order and Kreidler's 2-steal day in particular proving to be the difference. Chicago's offense exploded for 8 combined home runs in a 12-3 rout of Houston, and Munetaka Murakami was the driving force behind it. Murakami went 3 for 5 with 2 home runs and 6 RBI, a monster fantasy-relevant line that will have him near the top of every waiver wire this week. He wasn't alone in going deep. Chase Maydroth, Junior Perez, and Miguel Vargas also homered for the White Sox, giving Chicago 5 home runs as a team. Sean Newcomb picked up the win in relief. Houston tried to keep pace behind a 2-homer game from Jeremy Pena and a solo shot from Taylor Trammell, and Yainer Diaz and Nick Allen also chipped in hits, but the Astros pitching staff had no answer for a White Sox lineup that was locked in from top to bottom. Both Murakami and Pena put out multi-homer performances in the same game, making this the most statistically loaded game of the day, but it was Chicago's across-the-board power surge, capped by Murakami's 6 RBI eruption, that turned this into a laugher by the middle innings. Milwaukee blew past Colorado 11-2 behind a dominant start from Jacob Misiorowski, who struck out 12 over 5 innings to pick up the win. Andrew Vaughn homered for the Brewers, and Jake Bauers added a stolen base as Milwaukee's offense stayed aggressive throughout. Cooper Pratt, Joey Ortiz, Jackson Chourio, William Contreras, Bryce Terang, Gary Sanchez, and Luis Lara all picked up hits, giving the Brewers' offense depth from top to bottom. Colorado got solo home runs from Willie Castro and Cole Carrig, but couldn't solve Misiorowski, who was nearly unhittable on the mound. It was also a quiet day at the plate for Jake McCarthy, who went hitless and saw his 12-game hit streak come to an end in the loss. Between Misiorowski's dominant strikeout day and the finish of McCarthy's streak, this game had a bit of everything, and it all went Milwaukee's way in a comfortable rout. Cincinnati topped St. Louis 5-3 on the road, getting home runs from Elly De La Cruz and Kevian Hayes to help build the lead. Nathaniel Lowe drove in 2 runs on a 3 for 5 day, and Brock Burke picked up the win with 1.1 scoreless innings, with Julian Garcia closing it out for the save. Louis got a strong outing from starter Kyle Leahy, who struck out 9 over 6 innings, and Ivan Herrera answered with a solo home run of his own, while Alec Burleson went 3 for 5 with an RBI, and Masson Winn also reached base with a hit. But the Cardinals' offense couldn't back up Leahy's strong start, and Cincinnati's bullpen shut the door in the late innings to secure the road win. This one showcased strong individual pitching performances on both sides, even if St. Louis ultimately came up just short. Seattle beat Texas 6-4 on the road behind a huge day from Dominic Canzone, who went 3 for 5 with a home run and 4 RBI. Randy Arozarena also went deep and finished 3 for 5 with an RBI of his own, giving the Mariners 2 big multi-hit power performances in the same lineup. Gabe Speier worked 1.1 innings for the win, and Andres Munoz closed it out with a 1-inning save. Texas got a home run from Ezequiel Duran and a stolen base from Evan Carter, with Wyatt Langford, Jock Pederson, Nicky Lopez, and Brandon Nimmo also picking up hits, but the Rangers couldn't overcome the Mariners' power surge in the middle innings. Canzone and Arozarena combined for 7 RBI and 2 home runs, more than enough to carry Seattle to the win on the road. The Angels edged the Giants 4-3 on the road, getting home runs from Jorge Soler and Jo Adell to build the lead. Mike Trout had a huge day at the plate, going a perfect 4 for 4, though he didn't factor into the scoring column. Jose Soriano was excellent on the mound, working 5 scoreless innings with 5 strikeouts to pick up the win, and Mitch Ferris got the final outs for the save. San Francisco got hits from Heliot Ramos, Drew Cavanaugh, Willie Adams, and Luis Ariz, and Denzer Guzman added a stolen base for the Angels, but the Giants couldn't complete a comeback against a Los Angeles bullpen that shut the door late. Trout's flawless day at the plate was the individual highlight, even in a game ultimately decided by the long ball. Philadelphia routed New York 11-4 at home, powered by a massive day from Bryson Stott, who went 3 for 4 with a home run and 5 RBI. Christopher Sanchez worked 6 innings, allowing 3 earned runs while striking out 6 to pick up the win. Brandon Marsh and Bryce Harper each swiped a bag as the Phillies stayed aggressive on the bases, and Trea Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Alec Boehm, Justin Crawford, Brian De La Cruz, and Gabriel Rincons Jr. all contributed hits in the offensive outburst. New York's lone home run came from Ben Rice, with Anthony Volpe, Amed Rosario, Paul Goldschmidt, and Ali Sanchez also picking up hits, but the Yankees never found an answer for Philadelphia's lineup. It was also a quiet day for JT Realmuto, who went hitless and saw his 12-game hit streak come to an end, but it hardly mattered with Stott's 5 RBI eruption leading the way to a dominant home win. Miami's nightmare continues. The Marlins have now dropped 11 straight games after their loss to San Diego. On the hot side, CJ Abrams pushed his hit streak to 7 straight games in Washington's win over Arizona. Meanwhile, 2 notable streaks came to an end. Jake McCarthy's 12-game hit streak was snapped in Colorado's loss at Milwaukee, and JT Realmuto's own 12-game hit streak ended in Philadelphia's rout of the Yankees. Fantasy managers had plenty to like today. CJ Abrams went off for 2 home runs and 3 RBI in a 3 for 5 day, while teammate James Wood also went deep twice in the same Nationals win. A must-watch middle of the order right now. Munetaka Murakami and Jeremy Pena both delivered 2 homer games in Chicago's slugfest with Houston, with Murakami adding 6 RBI to make him the top ad of the day. Ryan Cradler chipped in a 2-steal game for Minnesota, adding a speed dimension worth streaming for standings pushes. That's a wrap on today's action. Hit subscribe so you never miss a recap, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for more.